Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Built Like This podcast. I'm your host, Maxine. We're on episode 351. 351. Hello. Happy New Year. It's 2025. I'm looking good. Hello. Check out this YouTube. Thank you for being here. Hope you are enjoying the start of the new year. It's been great for me, so I hope the same for you all. There's so much to discuss in this episode. I don't know how much we'll get into for today, but we'll get into some good things that interest me at least. Let's get into it. So I want to start off with the whole Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni suits. So Blake Lively is alleging Justin Baldoni has been sexually harassing her while filming the movie that they starred together. It Ends With Us, which is a movie based on the book It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Now, this book is very, very popular. I read it with my book club, and it is a well known book, so much so that it got adapted to a movie. I saw it, and it was a cool movie. I didn't really agree with Blake Lively playing the main character. I felt like it should have been for, no shade to her, but a younger woman. But nonetheless, I am, drum roll please, am not in support of her. I am not. I am not. Blake Lively has a history of being a bitch. There's a history of her being a bitch. Doesn't mean that this condones any behavior that would make her feel uncomfortable. But I think there's more to it than she is alleging. And Justin Baldoni, I think because he plays the role of Ryle Kincaid, who is this handsome character from the movie, from the book, who sweeps her off her feet, who's a surgeon, who's just handsome. But then we find out he's physically abusive. But the abuse in his character, like his abusive ways, don't unfold clearly. Some of his abuse is very ambiguous. And I think that really paints the picture of how a lot of abusive relationships work. Sometimes it's not as plain as day. It's not literally a punch to the eye. It's an accident. It's an accident. Anyway, I say all that to say, him being the character that he's playing, and to conveniently be accused of being abusive in the sense of, because it's abuse of power. If you are, because he was the executive producer of this movie. So to be in that position and to play this character and to abuse your power so much so that Blake Lively, the woman who is playing a character who's being abused by the character that you're playing, it's just very ironic. I feel like the cards don't align that well. I really don't. I don't think it's that convenient that, oh, you play an abuser, you are an abuser. No, cut it out. Hey, let's get into the nitty gritty with this case here, because there's a lot to kind of get into. So yes, Justin Baldoni is a handsome gentleman. He is a married man. Blake Lively is a married woman. I'm just pointing that out to kind of contextualize a lot of the things here. He decided to stand on his own business and not just say, oh, I deny these allegations, but I am firing back. I am firing back. So Justin Baldoni, according to CNN, is firing back after being accused of sexual harassment by his co-star Blake Lively, filing a libel suit against the New York Times on Tuesday, claiming that the newspaper published an article rife with inaccuracies, misrepresentations, and omissions that relied on Lively's self-serving narrative. And that is a consistent description of how Blake Lively is in the industry. There's a lot of people who have reputable sources that would say the same thing about Blake Lively. She's a nightmare to work with. She is a bitch. And I'm going to play some examples of videos of her in interviews showing how much of a bitch she is. Lively, just to give some more backtrack, she filed a complaint back in December, just last month, accusing Baldoni of sexual harassment and retaliation. In her complaint, she claimed that she raised concerns of sexual harassment on the set of their film, It Ends With Us, and he and his team retaliated against her, saying that the team concocted the press to make her appear unprofessional and unflattering. So you know how reality TV stars would say, "Oh, that's really not who I am." All throughout the season of Real Housewives, Atlanta, Potomac, whatever it is, Beverly Hills, many of the housewives will frequently say, "That's not who I am. That's not true. That's out of context. It's the editing. It's the editing." And that's just a convenient excuse that people will use who are on TV to excuse their shitty behavior. That's really what it is. Because even if the editors are slicing what you say from minute 13 to what you end up saying on minute 27, you still said it, right? You still said it. And historically, you have said things that are making yourself unflattering, right? Like, editing don't have to do too much. Sure, they may add a little zhuzh. They may not give the full story all the time. They may add some suspenseful background music. They may bring in your nemesis and boom, you have to face them at your birthday party. Sure, but you still are responsible for how you behave. That's one thing I've been learning more and more as I get older. You cannot control other people. You can only control yourself. So if that means I am going to be caught day in and day out of my unflattering behavior, that's just what it is. Because that's me being unflattering. That's me being a bitch. So with Blake Lively, her complaint is Baldoni and his team concocted this elaborate plan to retaliate against her, making her appear unflattering in the press, making her appear to be this bitch, rather than her realizing that no, it's you. It's you, Blake Lively. I don't buy it at all. Okay, I don't buy her complaint at all. Lively's complaint was first reported in the New York Times, which was published in an article back in December. This was a 4,000-word article. It contained contents from the Civil Rights Department complaint, which typically remain confidential. And she said this alleged sexual harassment took place from May to December. And according to the complaint, she didn't file and fight against it or speak up about it until just a few weeks ago. And the excuse is, I guess during the time of filming, it was during the strike with SAG. And I guess there was no room for her to make complaints. It's just a very confusing thing because apparently she's been through sexual harassment situations previously. Remember, she starred in Gossip Girl, and with her experience there, apparently her hairstylist, while she was on Gossip Girl, made her feel uncomfortable. So I'm just trying to understand, why do you have a history of being sexually harassed? Look, we're starting off 2025 like this. Yes. We're starting off because sometimes it ain't always true what you're saying. Sometimes it's you. So let's see here. Baldoni is alleging that Blake Lively created false sexual harassment accusations so she could take control of the film, because she was also one of the heavier hitters in the making of this film. She wasn't just the main actress here. She was also, I believe, the producer along with him. So they both had, I guess, equal power, but maybe she wanted more of the power. So she concocted this plan to allege that she's been sexually harassed by him. So he's alleging that Blake Lively created sexual harassment accusations so she could take control of the film, then set out on a campaign to reshape her public persona with salacious, headline-grabbing allegations in the New York Times at Baldoni's expense. So she knew already prior to coming out with this allegation, with this complaint, that she was already looking bad in the public, that her behavior was already being seen as a bitch. And in order for her to reshape that behavior, in order for her to make others see her as a victim or a survivor of this alleged assault or harassment that she experienced in the hands of Baldoni, she decided to create this false accusation. Lively cynical abuse of sexual harassment allegations to assert unilateral control over every aspect of the production was both strategic and manipulative. This was in the suit that Justin Baldoni stated just recently. He says simultaneously, her public image suffered as a result of a series of high-profile blunders, which she tried to deflect by blaming plaintiffs for the public's prying interest into the foibles of an A-list celebrity. I don't know what that means, foibles. This is nothing but an excuse. Fame is a double-edged sword. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, so let's get into some of these clips here of her just looking like a damn fool and how she came across during the press of this movie and how he came across. Remember, you could only control self. So the convenience of her saying, oh, it's his team. It's his team that's making her look like an angel while I'm looking like an asshole. So let's get into some of these clips of how they contrast in how how they come across throughout the press tour of this movie. Let's start from the beginning.
What comes to mind isn't so much about the work that went into it, but about the why behind it. If a Lily Bloom in real life can sit in this theater and maybe make a different choice for herself than was made for her. Maybe she sees herself on that screen and chooses something different for herself. That's why I made the movie.
What's your childhood dream? To wear Britney Spears' Versace dress.
The one thing you want people to take away from this project, what would you say?
Hope.
It's a background noise. Noise, really. The background music for me, that's hilarious.
Everybody has the ability to end a cycle that they didn't ask for. We can all say it ends with us in our life.
Isn't she great?
Yes.
Loved
What did you
her.
love about her?
I just love that she was just like an amalgamation of contradictions, yet it made perfect sense for her. So she's, you know, she's incredibly strong and self-assured and knows who she is, yet she's vulnerable and she's tender and she gets lost. I love that she was, you know, masculine and feminine. I love that she liked old things and then new shiny things, that she was very utility and practical, but sort of over the top and glamorous in other moments.
This is your night, mister.
No, this isn't my night. This is a night for all the women who we made this movie for.
It Ends With Us is in theaters now, so grab your friends, wear your florals, and head out to see it.
The question that's always asked is, why did she stay? And that's the wrong question.
Yeah.
What we need to be asking ourselves is, why do men harm?
Yes.
And that was the big thing for me. And what I've learned more and more and more of is, like, you know, these women who experience this every single day, there's real love there. You know, there's charm, there's charisma, there's passion, there's this belief that they can be better. And it's not so simple. So our friends that know more, I'm wearing their pin right now, they were the ones who really worked with me to help me make this film as truthful as possible and hopefully do justice to
I just like to
experience this.
Sorry, let's see another example real quick. Let's do this one.
You can't just put me in any clothes and give me any words and have me step in and transform. And I used to be very insecure about that.
Quick question about Taylor. Have you spoken with her? How concerned are you with the Austria concert?
Oh my gosh! I mean, how terrifying! But thank goodness that they are completely on top of that. Yeah.
Hi, congratulations on the film. This is obviously you're taking on a lead role as well as being a producer on this film. How do you find balancing the two of those?
Well, I'm not the type of actor who can act without producing, you know, like you can't just put me in any clothes and give me any words and have me step in and transform. And I used to be very insecure about that. I used to feel like an imposter because I would watch actors who were just shapeshifters. They could do it in any circumstance. And then I realized that half of the actors that I admire most were people who were more filmmakers, or people who had to get their hands in the storytelling and the writing and the creating and the environment, and people that I respected so much. And I was like, oh, okay, there's two different categories, and I'm in this category, and that's okay.
So essentially what she's saying here is that she can't stay in her place, and she had the opportunity in this role, working in this movie as not just the main character, but the producer as well. Let's see. Yeah, the producer. Well, she was one of the 4 producers on this film, and with Justin Baldoni. Let's see. I believe he was a producer as well. Let's see. Was Justin Baldoni? Was he a producer on the film It Ends With Us? Yeah, he was one of them too. Yeah, so it was a lot of them. It was a lot of them who played a role beyond just an actor in this film. And apparently with her, with Blake Lively, I think she just has a history from what I could gather. Let's look at this example here as well. This is her being interviewed by this interviewer here. And the interviewer is giving Blake Lively a compliment because she is looking so well. She's looking dashing, according to her, as she is seated there pregnant. Now, this is her response.
First of all, congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
What about my bump?
You got 2 nice ones.
And they are kind of bumps, aren't they?
No, not bumps. The lovely lady lumps. Check it
Okay.
out.
Thank you. Thank you. You like the movie? Or
Everyone wants to
digital?
talk about the clothes, but I wonder if they would ask the men about the clothes.
I would. I love Jesse's
He has some
suits and
beautiful. That's
how
what I'm saying.
he
His
chose
wardrobe
it.
was
Oh, I
beautiful.
know,
Corey's
everybody.
wardrobe
I
was.
know.
So she's being so dismissive here. She's not even paying attention to the interviewer. She's not letting the interviewer do her job. She, quote unquote, complimented the interviewer for having a bump, but the interviewer did not. The interviewer was actually not pregnant. Blake Lively clearly is. And it was just like little dig. Like, apparently she just has a history of doing these little digs towards other people for no reason. Like, what is it about complimenting a pregnant woman saying congratulations? What is it about that made her upset or made her be snide? It was just rude. It was unnecessary. And this is an interviewer named, I'm not gonna say her name, but she's a Norwegian interviewer. And it was a nightmare interview, according to this post here from Pop Crave. It was a nightmare interview. And this was just a part of an example of how Blake Lively continues to demonstrate herself to be a bitch. Sitting down with Blake Lively and her co-star is the most uncomfortable interview situation I have ever experienced. Is it not okay to congratulate someone on their pregnancy or to ask another woman about costumes she is wearing in a film? And here in this scene, in this clip, she's showing frustration because she feels like, oh, because I'm a woman, that's why you're talking to me about clothes. Why don't you ask men that question? Why don't you ask men the same type of question? It's just like silly. Girl, you are in this position of privilege here. You are in this position of privilege. You are being interviewed as the star that you are claiming to be, right? She's a star in her own right. And for her to come across just so dismissive and rude and just so ungracious, it of course will make people dislike her. It will of course make people not want to continue to work with her. Another example here, let's take a look at this.
See, this is an entire therapy session.
That's good. Get it out.
We've saged the room. We've emotionally saged. Sorry. We're gonna eat some chocolate croissants now.
Yeah, but what is, so I feel like your character is like the most confident woman in the world, and yours is like very insecure.
Yeah.
Are you guys? But you guys are like, both of you have this attitude about you that.
In real life, it's the other way around. And I constantly have to call Blake and be like, it's okay. You're good at giving interviews. I promise you. People like you. They respect you.
A lot of talking.
Gotta give her a pep talk. I'm like,
Yeah.
we're amazing. We're powerful. I mean, I'm the reason she gets out of bed in the morning.
And Anna's just an egomaniac, as you can see. So,
Yeah. I'm
so I learned a lot
incredible.
from her.
Yeah.
But are you good at telling yourself these things? Because I think we are the only person who can tell ourselves that we're good and that we're to give ourselves confidence, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it feels good when Anna gives me confidence too. I like compliments. I'm not below compliments. That's what my mom always says. She's like,
Anyway, moving on. Blake Lively does not get our sympathies. She is not looking right in the public eye. People are able to track examples of her being a bitch, and that is just what it is. And according to Justin Baldoni, this was a strategic and very well calculated move of hers to say suddenly, oh, well, he sexually harassed me, when there was no evidence. There is insufficient evidence. And according to the claims that he has more substantiated facts than she does. And I just feel like, it was the movie that much more important that you decided to be quiet while these harassment situations were taking place? You know what I mean? Like, that's what makes me wonder, like, wouldn't you have said something then? But yeah, that's my wonder. We'll see how this turns out. But I'm not buying it, Blake. I'm not buying it. Okay, so let's get into this sports drama. Not me into sports. So Joy Taylor, I don't know who she is. I don't watch any sport analyst talk show, but I've seen clips throughout social media. And of course, when people talk about a trending topic, eventually I'll catch up. So Emmanuel Acho, I know him because he used to date Molly. Remember Molly from Insecure? What's her real? Yvonne Orji. Yvonne Orji is her real name. And remember Molly, well, Yvonne Orji, that's her real name. She went on this press tour talking about she's still a virgin and just bright-eyed, bushy tail, big teeth, saying, telling everybody who listen, I'm still a virgin. I'm still a virgin. I'm still a virgin. Like, ma'am, go get some dick and leave me alone. Anyway, Joy Taylor is alleged to have had sexual relations with Emmanuel Acho. Acho Acho, I think it's Acho. Excuse me if I'm saying it wrong. And he is a former NFL linebacker. He is now a sport analyst on his own show. I don't know if the show is still running, but that is the trajectory of his career. He's also known for being more of a political commentator as well. He has a show, I don't know if it's still going, but I remember he had a show called Uncomfortable Conversations, in which he'll have these black and white conversations. Literally, he was just like annoying. I don't know what Yvonne saw in him, but she was corny too. So I guess it worked out, but it didn't work out. Anyway, the point is, I brought her up because she would talk so much about being a virgin and how she's saving it until she gets married. Mind you, she is, to each their own. I've come to a point in my life where I'm letting people do what they want to do, right? I'm finally at this point in my life. So though I may get annoyed or impassioned, I'm accepting more of the reality that let people do and live according to how they want to live. That's totally fine. Okay? Well, she's 41 years old talking about she's still a virgin. And at the time when she was dating him, like, she was still a virgin. So the point is, he was clearly not hitting anything when he, like, they weren't letting legs open wide. Okay? So the irony here, I feel like, wow, y'all weren't having sex, but he was. Hello? Y'all weren't having sex, but he was with somebody else. And that's what I just think it is. Like, he came across as this, like, I'm this God-fearing, I'm this, Christian. Let me show y'all a picture in case y'all forgot. Okay, I remember when they dated, y'all. I was like, okay, she got herself, all right. They look good. Like, I was like, okay, they look good together. They dress together for Halloween. Like, it was a relationship. That's how you know it was a relationship. That's the only way you know. Look at them right here. They took photos together. Like, just hello. So I just came to the understanding, like, okay, well, he may be on the same accord as her, right? He may be saving it for marriage. He may be this, this born again virgin. It could happen. No, it can't. No, it can't. No, it can't. And this is again another example of why the BS still stands. The BS still stands. I don't think it's realistic. I don't think it's realistic. He is, how old is he? Because if she's 41, let's see. Because how long did they date? How long did Yvonne Orji and Emmanuel Acho date? Ugh, I don't get a picture of that. Let's see. They were together for over a year. So probably a little over a year. What is his age? He is 34. Oh, child. Of course he wasn't waiting till marriage. Talking about. Hello? 34 years old and she's 41. I didn't know it was that much of an age difference. God. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. I don't think it's wise for women to date younger men. Not at all. But nonetheless, they dated for over a year. And she made it her personality to tell everyone who had ears that she is a virgin. And you would think, oh, they're both practicing celibacy. I really don't know the difference between celibacy and abstinence. So I don't know what exactly it will be technically between them at the time. But nonetheless, they weren't having sex together. But he was having sex. And that's just the thing is, you know how people are like, yeah, you know, you gotta make him wait for it. Make him wait for it. I remember when I was young, I used to I used to read, or I read the whole book of Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man. I was so into those books back then. Oh my God. I was like, okay, act like a lady, think like a man. Steve Harvey will let me know how to act like that. Oh my gosh. And I remember reading the Hill Harper book. Oh, that was a good read. He's a good writer. But nonetheless, I read that book and it talked about 90 days, wait 90 days. And he compared it to how when you're starting a new job, there's a probationary period. And that probationary period, you are being judged for, you know, maybe how many times you come in late, or, you know, just your work performance, your behavioral performance, everything, right? Just you as an employee. And anything is subjected to be changed within those 90 days, because if you're not following however the culture is, then your job may be gone. So he compared it to dating and how women should hold out from giving the man some punani no less than 90 days. That will make the man feel like, okay, you're serious, you're about something, and I could see a future, like you're wife material. Only wives do that. Girl, no. Okay, he'll say he'll hold out. He'll say he's cool with it, no problem. You don't think he's sleeping with somebody else? You don't think he got someone else in the back in his back pocket? That's why I feel like when people say they're single and they're dating, right? Or I'm single. Like, I don't think no one is ever single. I don't think no one is ever. I think there's always somebody available if they wanted them to be available, or probably was already available, but maybe there was like a rest period. All in all I'm saying is, while Yvonne was being a virgin, he was clearly knocking someone else's boots. And I don't buy it. I don't buy Christian couples waiting. And even if they do, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Even if they do, something's wrong. Because I don't think any well-performing man, let's say that, because you could have a man who has impotency, right? He's impotent, can't get it up. You gotta have a man who may not really like you like that, may not really like your gender like that. You see what I'm going? The point is, let's get back to Joy Taylor, okay? It's alleged from a hairdresser. When I first read about this, I'm like, wait, huh? A hairdresser is the one behind this lawsuit. She claims that it was a toxic and hostile work environment at this sports network. And a lot is to be said. Let me just go and get into it. So the sports media world has been rocked by a 42-page lawsuit filed by Nushin Faraji, a hairdresser from Hollywood who worked for Fox Sports from 2012 to 2024. So 12 years is a long time. I can tell if that name is female or male, but we'll see. Faraji's allegations involve several high-profile figures at the network, including Skip Bayless, FS1 host Joy Taylor, and Fox Sports Executive Vice President Charlie Dixon. The lawsuit accuses the defendants of sexual harassment, misconduct, and fostering a toxic work environment. So first, the allegations against Skip Bayless includes this hairstylist alleging that Bayless engaged in inappropriate physical contact over a prolonged period, which included lingering hugs after haircuts and pressing his body against hers, including her breasts. The lawsuit also details an incident where Bayless allegedly offered Faraji $1.5 million for a sexual encounter, despite her repeated refusals to engage with him beyond a professional capacity. So this hairstylist is a female, is a woman, and she worked at this company, at this job. She worked at Fox Sports or for Fox Sports for 12 years. She just left last year. And she's alleging that Skip Bayless engaged in inappropriate physical contact with her, and this took place during a long stretch time period. This included lingering hugs, pressing his body against hers, including her breasts. He even propositioned her, saying, "Look, I'll give you 1.5 million." Now that's how you know this man is loaded, because wow, that's a big deal to consider. 1.5 million just flat? Just flat. I mean, what kind of sexual encounter are we talking about? It's a joke. Faraji claims that her attempts to report the behavior were ignored, leaving her vulnerable to further harassment. So she tried multiple times to speak against this, to speak up, to report this, yet she was ignored time and time again. Bayless has not issued a statement regarding the allegations, and there has not been a response from him. Now let's get to Joy Taylor's role in the allegation. Now, Joy Taylor is a beautiful woman. She's a beautiful woman with big old titties. Let's keep it a bean. She has some big old titties. And these titties contribute to the hostile work environment. Let's take a look at Joy Taylor. Let's take a look at Joy Taylor. Beautiful woman. Allegedly, she's a black woman. You know, everyone's black now. But hey, I saw this post on X talking about now everyone's black, and you see 4 pictures of black women. You see Kamala Harris. You see, what's that? Rachel Dolezal. You see Joy Taylor, and then you see someone else. Let me see if I can find it. There was a 4th person. I'm like, God, what is black? At this point, usually, yeah. Oh, can I find it? I hope I saved it. Yo, that shit was so funny. It's stupid. People are stupid, dog. Of course I didn't save it. I feel like every time I thought I'd say something, it's just psych. You thought. Nonetheless, she got some big old titty bitties. Child really didn't save it. Oh my gosh, I'm so annoying. It's me. I'm the problem. Okay, so let's take a look. So as you can see in these pictures here, of course, she's attractive. Of course, she has this attractive look, right? She's aesthetically pleasing. She kind of fits this mold of what men would flock to in this industry. Let's just put it at that. Okay. And we see this infamously. See her big old, yeah, okay. And we see this picture of her and Emmanuel Acho. That there he go. There he feet out and everything, getting super comfy. What's going on? And apparently they had a show together. Again, I'm not familiar with the sports world like that and the whole agenda and itinerary that's on Fox Sports, but apparently they had a show together. So let's take a look at the role that she plays in this situation here. So she is also named here. She's a prominent FS1 host. What does FS1 stand for? Fox Sports 1. maybe, accusing her of contributing to the hostile work environment. This hairdresser claimed that when she reported her issues about Skip Bayless and Charlie Dixon, when she reported them to Joy Taylor said to her, quote, "Get over it. Girl, get over it. This what it is. Don't let the money make you." That's what she said. She also alleged that Taylor willingly engaged in sexual relationships with Emmanuel Acho and later with Charlie Dixon to advance her career. Hello? To advance her career. According to the suit, these alleged relationships helped Taylor secure a more prominent position and greater opportunities at the network. And that's the allegation here. That is the role that she plays here. She is being called out for her contribution to this hostile work environment. And I'm just not surprised. I'm not surprised. Look, oftentimes women would sleep with men to get up, right? To get further, to advance, to accomplish a goal, to get there. And that's largely because we do live in a patriarchal society and the gatekeepers are men. Most of the time, the gatekeepers are men. So what's the best way to get a man to give you an opportunity? Suck a zick. I mean, right? Suck a zick, open your legs, let me get some. And if you're a woman who values that more than your integrity, more than your self-worth, or whatever the case is, then you'll be a Joy Taylor. You'll be someone who says to another woman, "Get over it," when she comes to you in distress because time and time again, Skip Bayless is allegedly harassing her sexually. Joy Taylor, she has this show with Emmanuel Acho. Apparently, this relationship that they've held, this has been a thing for quite some time. And it wasn't a relationship. Let's even be more clear about that. It was a sexual thing going on. It was a sexual understanding. And the tensions between them were high. It was clear as day. And the environment was aware of this, so much so that this contributed to them having a show together. The producers and the powers that be saw their chemistry and thought, this is something that we want to bank on and we want to create a show with them together. So let's do it. Let's make this work. So let's see what else here. Allegation against Charlie Dixon. So Charlie Dixon is the Fox Sports EVP. That's maybe executive vice president. Maybe that's what it stands for. He's accused of inappropriate behavior. The lawsuit claims that Dixon created a hostile work environment. He failed to address Faraji's complaints about Skip Bayless and engage in unethical behavior that compromised the safety and professionalism of the workplace. So, of course, you're going to have someone like Joy Taylor saying, "Get over it," because she's sleeping with this guy, in addition to sleeping with Emmanuel Acho, in order to get what she wants. Quid pro quo. Excuse me. The lawsuit paints a picture of a deeply flawed corporate culture where individuals in power allegedly abuse their positions without fear of accountability. And that's what the problem is. So it's not about like, oh, well, these people are adults, right? These people are adults. They do what adults do. No. When you are sleeping with a higher up person in your workforce, in your field, at your job place, it does create tension at the workplace. It does make others think, oh, well, if this happens so freely and this is coming from the top, I could go ahead and see if I could get some from Suzanne over there. And Suzanne's not with it though. She didn't sign up for that. So now she has to be subjugated or subjected to this type of behavior at the workplace when she's trying to be a professional. And when she's trying to report this to secure her safety at her workplace where she spends so much time at, she's dismissed time and time again. So it is flawed. It is flawed. So I think it's beyond the whole, oh, well, these people are adults. Adults could do what they want to. No, it's not okay. It's not okay at all. And I don't support that. I really don't. I think, yes, sure, we do, we work more than we are at home, unfortunately. And we eventually do create relationships, whether it's sexual or just close friendships with our coworkers, at least some of them. But regardless, there should be some boundaries set in place. And I think it's just best to not. It's just best to not engage in sexual relations with your coworker, and definitely not your boss. Definitely not someone in a higher position than you. I just think things get so uncomfortable more than they have to. And that's because you couldn't close your legs. You couldn't close your legs. I want to play some of these clips that is fucking hilarious. So again, look at her. Joy Taylor, beautiful woman. Let me go ahead and see how I can milk this situation. I'll make this screen bigger. Make sure you are liking this video if you're enjoying this content. Support by following the instructions at the bottom of the screen. This is the Grassroots Podcast. So just make sure you are subscribing and donating. All of that is appreciated, and I thank you in advance. Let's get into some of these memes here because my goodness, I was cracking up. So again, this is Joy Taylor. She's been accused of sleeping with several prominent executives and personalities to get a prime role with the network, and it got her that prime role. Let's see here. Skip Bayless is named to be one of the people who contribute to the toxic work environment. He would harass women, have lingering hugs, kisses, and gropes, and even offered the hairstylist who filed this lawsuit $1.5 million to sleep with him, claiming he could change her life. I mean, I want to meet this woman and see how come she couldn't. It's a joke. It's a joke. Let's take a listen to what they're saying here. See that right there? I'm just gonna let's take a pause. And that's the thing. That's the thing. She had some big old titties, and she knows she has some big old titties. She knows she could get more attention, more opportunities, and more yeses, right? People could be amazed. People could be amazed by her, not because of her talent necessarily. She may have talent. I don't know what she does really. She's an analyst, sure, okay. But she got some big old titties. And a man is a man is a man is a man. Hello? A man is a man. So in this little Freudian slip, you have her coworker say titties when he's not supposed to be saying that while he's speaking to her. Like, what? What do you mean 2 titties? Yo. Over here, and mind you, this is the black woman y'all talking about. Like, where is the black woman? But okay, we're not a monolith. Okay. So people are assuming that Shannon Sharp slept with her too, or she slept, they slept together. And this is a funny example. This one right here. Make sure you are watching me on YouTube because these clips are too funny. I have to play them. I have to. So please bear with me or turn to YouTube if you are only listening to me on an audio platform. Check us out on YouTube and watch this right here by Drewski. Drewski is too stupid. He's stupid. It's to watch out for me. So here, this is describing real quick. You have coworkers who would play like their husband and wives, and that's a common descriptor some people will use with their coworkers. Like, oh, that's my work wife. That's my work husband. That's my work wife. That's my work husband. That's a thing that some people use, particularly younger adults. I don't know if that's a thing for older adults, but nonetheless, the energy is still present. The energy is still present for sure. So, and that's primarily because you have people who work together more than they are at home. We know we spent 8 hours, maybe even more, right? If you're doing overtime, and depending on the job that you're doing, the line of work, the intensity of that job, the proximity of that job, all of that could contribute to how tight you get with someone else. Seriously. So naturally, human nature, if you are also someone who may lack boundaries or you just don't give a fuck, you will develop sexual desire and fall into those desires with your coworker. So this is not a thing of newness at all. This is not a thing of newness. And you see here Juski walking into, I guess, his work wife on the lap of another coworker. Yeah, he's like, really? Okay, why? And she's running after him, and he's like, watch out, watch out. Is that upstate thing where we say watch out? Okay, watch out, watch out, watch out. I don't know if they say that here in the South. Watch out, watch out. Like, watch out for what? What? Say excuse me or say no. You're saying watch out. Okay, and he's saying that why? Because he smashed her that night, that night or the night previous. Looking forward to smashing that ass tonight when I come home. Okay. Skip Bayless, what? This nigga is. How old is he? And he's still talking about I could change your life and you just let me smash. 73 years old and he's married. You know, that doesn't matter. 73 years old and he's talking about I'll give you $1.5 million. Nigga, if I, at this point, child. And this is Charlie Dixon, I think. Yeah, so this is Charlie Dixon. And this meme says this Fox executive is who was knocking down Joy Taylor. Remember, fellas, you're not ugly, you're just broke. Oh, God, it's so just funny. Just funny. Okay, well, just one last thing. So Skip Bayless decided to respond. He decided to respond, and I want to share y'all what he said in this press response here. Let's take a listen.
off at the Christmas party. Apparently not, bitch. I'm the dude you blackmail. And then I saw the hairdresser. I thought I can get this one. I'm powerful. 1.5 million for blue balls. I wanted to address the hairdresser in the room. Ever since I can remember, I had to watch Joy get passed around like a blunt in a soul food kitchen. And I wanted those sweet, sweet mommy milkers. I wanted that voluptuous vixen, that dirty slut. But did I exist? Was my influence large enough to suck me off at the Christmas party? Apparently.
So yeah, that was his response. JK, of course, that was AI, but man, that was a good AI. That was a good one. Hilarious. And there we have it. A man is 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 a man. Okay. So we'll see how this unfolds. I'm just cracking up. That is too funny to me, child. But there we have it. I think ultimately, what is the lesson here? Stop sleeping with your coworkers. Just stop. Cut it out. I'll cut it. I know. But don't attend the happy hours anymore. What else? Don't attend the happy hours. Don't do it. It's not even worth it because you realize they're only cute at work. They're only cute when you go outside of work. It's like, wait, what? There's something about the workplace. It's like is it enticing or there's like a mystic vibe. There's something going on. Okay. That's all it is. So ultimately, just close your legs. Close your legs to these people. All right, y'all. Let's see. Should I get into B Simone? Let's get into her real quick. She's so loud. I don't want to do it too much, but let's just dive into it real quick. So she is B Simone. We know her from her loud ass mouth. She has a loud mouth. She has a loud voice. She is bold. She is a comedian. She is also on Wild 'N Out. What else? She has a strong following on social media. She had a podcast with a friend, Megan Ashley, but that ended quite abruptly. And now she's on her own show. And she's now on a path of Christianity, like hardcore. And this is a thing that happens for those who are in the early stages of getting saved, of converting their life to Christ. This is not new to me. I've seen this before growing up, and I don't necessarily bash it. I think a lot of the times the response to this, and we'll get into it in a second, the response to those who find peace in God or realize, oh, I should have been here. A lot of people find a lot of hate towards it to say. I don't know what else to say. What's the proper word for it? But a lot of people are mad. Now, here's the thing. I think she's just unlikable. I think she is just an unlikable character. She has a history in social media that doesn't make her look good in the public eye. So when her friend, just one example, her friend, Jackie, I think Jackie O, I believe that's her name. Rest her soul. She passed away abruptly, and she decided to monopolize from that passing and say, if you want to see me grieve my friend, then send me a Cash App in order for you to be added to the close friends on social media, on Instagram. She also got called out for allegedly plagiarizing her manifestation book. So that's another thing. What else? And she's just like, she has an energy about her that is not likable. She's not, she's kind of like an Amanda Seales in that sort. Nonetheless, prior to her being evangelized or, saved. And in this new path that she's in, she was very much on that new age witchy type of path, meaning I would have sage, I would put crystals in my boobs, and she would often talk about wanting to attract a man. I want to attract a man. And she had this big crush on DaBaby, that rapper. Where is he now? Like, I don't see him. But anyway, let's see if I can find that old video of her talking about DaBaby or just rap. What it's just her desire to be with him so badly. And it caught a lot of, and then she also talked about not wanting to date a man who's a 9-to-5. She just has a lot of takes that make people annoyed with her. So let's take a listen to one example from a few years ago that made people feel annoyed with her.
Dream career, I manifested it. I'm trying to manifest a husband. Ain't nothing wrong with a nigga with a 9-to-5. I get it. They work hard. I used to have a 9-to-5. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong. You work hard, you have money. I get it. I need an entrepreneur. I need somebody that understands my mindset. Somebody that has the same lifestyle. It has nothing to do with money, everything to do with lifestyle. Okay? When I'm in the bed at 3 a.m. checking emails, what you doing, babe? Working. What you doing? Working. Okay, love you. You want to hop on a flight tomorrow? I have a meeting in out of town. You want to go? You got okay, let's go. Okay. You understand my life. You understand what I'm going through. I want to manifest that. What do you want in a man? What do you want? Let's start there. What do you want? Let's manifest it, baby. You can have it. Whatever you want, you can have it. Manifest that shit. Ain't nothing wrong with a nigga with a 9-to-5. Ain't nothing wrong with an entrepreneur ass nigga. Manifest whatever you want. I want to manifest an entrepreneur ass husband. I don't care what you do. Entrepreneur.
Okay, we can stop there. So anyway, the response is because she never got that man, right? She never got that man that she was trying to manifest. The man who will understand her lifestyle, the man who could hop on a flight just as easily as her, the man who could just be the creation that she is deeming to manifest. She now decided to leave that mindset and that lifestyle of new age thinking, the whole like manifest, I'm gonna vision board my man, I'm gonna write it down on a piece of paper, roll it up, and then throw it to the nearest pond type of lifestyle. It leads to, okay, that didn't work. My man didn't come from that. Okay, let me go to Christ. Let me go to God. Let me go to God. And God will manifest. God will give me the man that I desire. That's the perspective you could see it as. I could definitely agree to that as to what could have led her to move forward from this lifestyle. And look, she could genuinely be a Christ follower now, right? She could be genuine in her new lifestyle pursuit. I don't know. The case is it doesn't look as genuine because she comes off as a grifter. She comes off as someone who tends to concoct what she says, like manipulate her words in a way to appear as if she is genuine when the case is untrue. So let's get into what she said recently prior to the start of this new year, 2025. And she talks about what she is leaving. But, everyone likes to talk about what they're leaving behind and not bringing with them to the new year. Let's see what she says here.
Go into 2025 with people who are still looking forward to their daily horoscope. This war we fighting, I need some intercessors. Y'all over here carrying around sage? Y'all still got rose quartz. I get it. I used to have the rose quartz in my bra. Like, I'm going to find me a nigga today. Yeah, this rose quartz, this rock going to bring me my husband. I get it. I have been there. But what I'm saying is I'm not there anymore. And nothing against the people who believe in that. Just as for me and what I need in my life, I don't need a tool. I need the blood. So if you ain't covered in the blood, hey, you can't go into next year with me talking about did you read your daily microscope? I don't give a damn about what the horoscope say about Aries. What does Matthew 2 and 2 say? Can you pray? Go into 2025 with people who are still looking forward to their daily horoscope. This war we fighting,
we're
I
done.
need some intercessors.
So now, what the argument is on the other side, right? Her opposing side, those who are genuinely devoted to reading their horoscopes and applying those new age practices to their lives daily, their response is, why are you always judging me? Like, why can't you just let me be? You know, free will. It shouldn't hurt you that I'm doing X, Y, and Z. And that's the thing. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence with it. I really am, because I also don't agree with, because okay, let's circle back real quick. So I feel like I'm all over the place. It was probably 2 Podmas seasons ago in which I shared with you all my realization of the New Age movement and how demonic it is. And I know that may ruffle some feathers saying that, and it just is what it is, but that's where I stand. Now, do I think everyone's doing it on that same wavelength, right? Of like worshiping demons? I don't know. I don't think that, but I do think sometimes we're not aware of what we invite into our home. We're not. We get so caught up in the fluff or the aesthetic and the self-love movement, and we don't realize that we're exposing ourselves to practices and rituals that are not of God. And if it's not of God, then it's not good. That's literally it. There's nothing else to say about that. Now, in the sense of like, okay, I want to maybe remember my loved one, right? An ancestor of mine, right? Maybe a grandmother who passed away, whom I was close with. I understand the intention behind that, but I also feel like sometimes we get so caught up in delving into spirits that are not here anymore, spirits that are not physically, like, you know, we're all spiritual beings. We're just in a physical vessel. So that's what I mean. Spirits that are not here anymore, you know, so they're not here in a physical shell, but they're in another realm. And I think the tricky part with that is, yes, you're feeling sad that they're gone. You're grieving their loss, and all of that is understandable. But I think we have to be more mindful and be more intentional when we reference a loved one who's no longer with us. And I've had to be careful with that too, because when my cousin passed, Joanna, I would just like, dang, you know, I would see her in my dreams sometimes, and not to say that I don't believe that it's not her, but I think sometimes we don't want to admit that the devil is really tricky. And the devil could use our deceased loved ones as a way to engage us with his trickery, with his deception. And because we are so much in that grief, we want to believe, and we genuinely do believe, that this is still the cousin that we knew in this side of the world, this side of the realm. And I don't think that's always the case. I do think sometimes, sure, you may get signs, and it's a hard look. I don't think it's always black and white sometimes. But I do think when we spend more time praising what's like on the land rather than who gave us it, then that's where it becomes a problem. What I mean by that is when we spend more time like praising the sun, right? The sun is amazing. I love the sun, rather than who created the sun. That's where it becomes tricky. That's where it's like, okay, why you're putting someone before God. You could thank God for providing you with shelter and, you know, finances and resources and community and all these things, but don't make that your place of worship. Don't keep that as your source of God. It's a conversation that is very complex and is a hard pill to swallow. Now, again, I'm not saying you can't remember your ancestors, you know, your loved ones, whomever. I'm not saying that. I know it's a tricky, and I'm not trying to shoot down anyone who does. I just think we have to be careful. That's it. That's all I'm saying. We just have to be careful. Just be careful. I don't think you should mess with spirits all the time. At the very least, I don't think you should mess with them all. I don't think you should mess with them all the time. I think you should be careful. Go watch the show From, y'all, because From, I think it's the truth in the sense of, if you watch From, you know what I'm talking about. From is about this community who lives in this town that they can't leave, and they're haunted by monsters at night, and these monsters would take on the appearance or even the voice of a loved one of theirs. And the trickery with that is, when you are missing a loved one of yours who passed on, you're hoping and wishing and wanting, even though you know they're dead, you're still yearning to see them, and you even trick yourself to believe, oh, this is them outside my door. Maybe they are alive. You know, maybe they made it out. Then you open the door and you get eaten alive, and you know your guts are shattered, and it's the whole thing. And it may not be as graphic in real life, right? Some things are definitely fantastical in the movies, but I think ultimately it hits the possibility, the strong possibility, that when we play with matters that are not of God, we could get destroyed. I mean, it's really that simple. So, yes, B. Simone is annoying. Yes, she has a way about her that makes her unlikable. And yes, she's, you know, she plagiarized allegedly her manifestation, but she has all these reasons why one would not like her. And I also agree with what she's saying. I also agree, like, yes, I may know my zodiac sign, right? But when we rely more on the horoscope to tell us our future, like when we get so caught up in these like things, like, tell me about my future, like, just live your life. Just live your life. Don't get so caught up with like tarot cards and horoscopes, and like you get down this road of deception. And who is the king of deception? Who is the author of deception? It's not of God. It's not God. It's the devil himself. So all in all, I hear what she's saying. I understand the backlash because historically she has not reigned well with the audience, but I don't think she's wrong. And I do think there's a space where you can deconstruct theological, harmful rhetoric, and you can still say God is the one true God, is the one living God, right? And I can still say that Jesus Christ is the only way through to get to God. And I can still say that. So yeah, she's annoying. And I also want to point out, I feel like sometimes we get so caught up in church hurt. And I don't want to say that dismissively, but I'm saying that to say a lot of us has been hurt by the church, so much so that it led us to leave the church. It led us to denounce the church. It led us to become atheists. And it's very unfortunate. And I want us to push away from that. You may not want to go find a church home, but that doesn't mean you can't find a relationship with God and Christ himself. And I hope I articulated myself well with that. So anyway, it's a long-standing conversation. I hope she's doing well. I really do. And Megan Ashley's on the same wavelength. Now she's not unlikable as B. Simone is. And she doesn't come across with her social media antics the way she's not as loud, and she's not like that. She's not a comedian either. So her way of messaging her beliefs doesn't come across judgmental or attack like. But people don't want to hear this. People don't want to hear this because it's agonizing, it's aggravating the demons. It is. And because we're spiritual beings in a physical body, the demons could have access to us when we entertain practices of deception, such as tarot cards, such as ancestral worship. Yeah, I'm not worshiping. Okay, but why are you doing that for? Like, why am I leaving out items to praise a spirit that's not present anymore? You know, some things just don't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, I'm trying to say this as graceful as I can, because I genuinely do believe there are some people who practice in some of these things. They do it with a loving intent, and they may not understand the deception entirely. Hopefully they will at some point. So I'm just trying to be as gracious as I can, because I understand the aesthetic of it. I understand the deception and the trickery of it, right? Like, you get so caught up with new age movement, right? You get so caught, even vision boards, y'all. I had to learn about vision boards and realize that's not of God either. And that's a whole different, we can get to that at some point, but that's not of God either. Keep your prayers to yourself. You don't have to put that out on a vision board. Keep your prayers to yourself. Anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and end it here. We could talk about this at another time, some more. But yes, I did talk about this in depth in a previous Podmas season. I think it was the first year of Podmas that I did. So go ahead and check that out if you care. Hopefully you do. And I hope you enjoyed the Podmas series that we had this past year, just last month. So that was great. All right, you all. Thank you again for listening. Happy New Year again. I hope your new year has started off on a great note. Let a friend know about this podcast. Share your support in a multitude of ways. Look at the ticker at the bottom of the screen. That is one way of supporting this podcast. Another way is to simply subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, leave a comment on Spotify, and leave a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and engage in the comments on YouTube. All right, you guys, goodbye.